village is full of ghost wards. They're afraid of something.
Leave them up. Cause no trouble.
Oh there! Anyone home? Where did they go?
The well, recently sealed. Below, it feels off.
Smells off too.
Aye, Fairfax Haskell, though it bring demons down in great wrath upon... Friends, find fortitude in our success. Exiled from our homes by the devil's machinations, we congregate before the Lord in this new meeting house. We gather, we worship, we overcome. And we shall be well protected by the holy ward my son now makes under my instruction. For I have spent hours countless in your service, poring through books and papers, devouring the oeuvre of my peers, that our meeting house be safe.
Fairfax Haskell, for whom the word pompous was invented.
Half built? Yes. Open to the four winds? Yes. But already it is resplendent with our faith. A shining reminder of our renewed belief in better days. McCraith, Mr. McCraith. I thought you. What happy portent, what most excellent news. What blessings. I applaud your valorous deeds. O fate, I say, dead sir, I thought you dead.
Maybe I am.
Do not make light of such matters, my friend, for the devil's wrath is wide awake, and his claw scratches at our door, metaphorically speaking.
I'm alive. I promise.
My friends, I shall deliver this sermon another time. The battle with the devil's legions is ongoing, and Mr. McCraith and I have much to discuss. Thank you, Lammy. Behold this miracle of ours, Mr. McCraith. Exiled we, yet in our darkest hour we find the moral vigor to build this humble monument to resilience. But you and I must speak of darker matters. For we, erudite men of higher learning, know that evil yet walks. There is much work to be done.
Indeed there is.
Yes, yes. Forgive the inelegance of my welcome. You are alone. Do I surmise that Miss Duarte is no more?
She knew the risks.
So will I go in unto the king. And if I perish, I perish. So said Esther to Mordecai. Such wisdom, such courage. I'm so sorry for your loss. Grief is a journey, long and painful, but you do not walk the road alone, I promise you.
Oh, I know. I know.
In time, God healed my wounds. May you too find peace. Now, I regret that even at this most burdensome time for you, I must move with haste to business and beg once more for your help.
What's going on? It must be serious if you're asking for my help.
Since your defeat at the meeting house, the devil, heartened and emboldened, goes from strength to strength. He insinuates himself among my people, reveling in the suffering of the disease he unleashes upon us. It pits one against the other. Suspicion tears this community apart once again. All this to weaken my people and lead them away from the light of God.
In times of disease, you need doctors, and I'm no doctor.
We'll not treat the symptoms, we'll tear out the root. An agent of the devil walks among us. A witch! You must find her, or him, as it may be. You and I share great expertise, but I'm a man of position, while you, sir, are much more familiar with field work. Go, meet my people, walk amongst them. Learn which of them secretly serves the demon, that we may expunge this evil malady from our body politic.
What makes you think there's a witch at work here?
Aye, sir, I'm a man of God and intellect. I can read the signs. When a so-called mystery disease afflicts half of my people overnight, there can be only one culprit. 'Tis the devil's doing, sir. Probably through one of his servants. For you see, I understood immediately that the water in the well had been tainted. There are no strangers here. You could self-accept it. No one has fled. The guilty woman, or man, I suppose, remains within the village. As evil walks, the evil are emboldened, but this witch shall see her downfall. Or his, of course. As did the last one, as will the next. Some years ago, you may have heard tell of this. I made my name on the execution of a terrible witch. It pains me that I must do it once more.
This illness, tell me of it.
Upon my arrival here in the Harrows, I immediately set about protecting the place with consecrated tokens. Safeguarded from the curse, we all felt safer, for a time. Then some devil poisoned the well, our only source of water. Someone on the inside, mind.
Spoiled water proves nothing.
A wise point and well made, Banisher, if not for the fact that we have been, for months on end, under the obvious influence of a terrible curse. One way or another, the devil has found an agent among us, and who knows what nefarious ill-doing old Black Spy plans next.
I noted your ghost wards with some interest.
Ghost wards, an interesting name. I call them sanctifiers, a name more palatable to my flock.
Why did you not use them in New Eden when the curse began?
It was more complicated to convince the whole congregation of the necessity to use magic. Here, people have more trust in my unmovable probity.
This requires a great deal of occult knowledge. Where did you learn your craft?
Etienne Roulet, one of the greatest demonologists of our time, is a good friend of mine. I improved upon his work.
A man in your position must know what goes on in his own community.
Why, of course, I know all that there is to know. Oh, near enough. Ask your questions, sir. Ask away.
How goes the colony?
Sir, the body politic bears a heavy weight. Not content with weakening their flesh, the devil's evil attacks the people's hearts and minds. Until you expose the culprit, the harmony of this divinely beautiful commonwealth shall remain marred by suspicion and mistrust. Long story shortened, people are not getting along.
How did you, a man of position and faith, become a demonologist?
Ah, yes. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I shall explain, in the briefest manner possible. Though blessed with intellect and no little faith, I also had privilege. I had the means for an education, time and place with which to study. For a time, my father was a pupil of Henry Boggart, the great demonologist. He had the books, I had the aptitude. When he passed, I donned his mantle. My father taught me about duty. I have gifts, faith, intellect, position. I must protect them. I must use them to protect my people. This is my duty. This is my burden.
Your son, how would you describe him?
Lamentation? How would I describe him? Well, he's curious. Inquisitive, I mean, as opposed to peculiar. Although he has his moments there, too. I tried to teach him demonology, to make him the third generation of witch hunters. But he revealed no disposition. Occult knowledge could only obfuscate his good nature. At heart, he is a naive boy who reads a lot and doesn't say much.
I am no witch hunter. My business is with the lingering dead.
For a fee, yes, I know. But you can't deny evil practitioners exist. A few years ago, I had to cleanse this community from such a threat.
Do you mean Deborah?
You know a little already, I gather. Yes. Deborah, the crooked school teacher. When Deborah showed her true nature, I was proud to pass judgment upon her. She earned her punishment. Her mask was a good one, as if butter would not melt upon her tongue. But you cannot fool a man of faith and intellect. No, sir, you cannot.
You'll not mind me saying it, but for a Puritan paradise, you seem to get more than your fair share of witches.
God has not forsaken us, but someone here does the devil's work. Find me a witch, Mr. McCraith. Return this place to the Lord.
I'm a working man, Governor, but the Lord does seem happy to pay, so I'll do what I can. I'll take my leave of you, Governor.
Of course. Outside, you must take the stairs. While you're with us, the first house on the left shall be your home.
Governor.
May I help you, Mr. McCraith?
I have to admit, this is an unusual case.
Yes, but have you solved it?
I believe so. But the culprit was not responsible for the plague. At least not directly.
Have you found the witch or have you not?
Someone here has been dabbling in some dark magic. I have the name.
So? What are you waiting for?
Don't you want to hear the name?
I do not need to. The principle is what matters.
Not exactly. The name is Lamentation Haskell.
No, it can't be. My son is studious. Curious, too curious at times, perhaps. But he does not have a bad bone in his heart.
He showed Caleb Watson a ritual. The cobbler used it and became possessed.
Even if true, it would only mean my son was exposed to corruption. It happened before. Bring me proof, Banisher. Find the real source of evil.
Since when has the governor required proof?
I'll get it. Mark me. I must find your son, Governor. Sooner rather than later.
His interests take him hither and thither. If he isn't here, he must be working on the outskirts. He's been sprucing up one of the abandoned houses there. I ordered them emptied when the sickness hit. Yeah. Take the gate key. Go there. See for yourself. You're wrong about him. You're wrong about my son. Needless to say that I count, of course, on your discretion.
So, here we are.
I suppose now we step into the void.
Suppose we do. Dark rituals, void breach, general weirdness. Lemmy can't be far.
Beware. Wards. Creepy hideout. The governor's spawn likes a bit of drama.
This one's different. Looks like it died diseased. This is some dark, sideways magic.
It's forbidden. I've read it.
Sometimes I worry about you. What is this thing?
Banisher rule number 4.
If it oozes, don't touch it. Another botched experiment?
It may be native to the void. So, you can see me. Aren't you full of surprises, young Master Haskell?
You may talk. A Banisher ghost. Amazing. How on God's earth did you find me? Never mind that. Thank the Lord you did. Thought I was going to grow old in here.
Were you stuck in here?
In the Araloo. Originally, I was searching for the source of the poisoning. I may have overestimated my talents. Still, an amazing place to be stuck in, no? Tell me, how did you get past the Guardian beneath the mill? Did you use a decoy?
We fought it. Don't change the subject.
You fought it? Of course you did! A good thing, too. I was starting to think it was wise to me tricks. Oh, but I have so many questions.
This isn't a social call, kid. And we're the ones with the questions.
Oh. Oh. Of course.
We must talk of Caleb Watson. Why in the hell would you give him a resurrection ritual?
Ruth's death hit poor Caleb hard. He was alone, and so I would often stop by his workshop. We talked. He took a keen interest in my studies and was a good listener. When he learned that she could possibly return, he had one question. How?
Men bonding over bereavement and black magic. A pretty tale indeed.
I should have proceeded with more caution.
You shouldn't have proceeded at all. We have a witch hunt on our hands. You could face trial for this botched ritual.
Yes, and I'm sorry. I found it in a copy of Die Occulte Philosophia by Cornelius Agrippa von Nettesheim. A remarkable book.
I've met my fair share of illustrious occultists, and none owned an authentic Agrippa. Much is lost in translation or altered in the printing. I doubt your copy is an exception.
Of course! The power is in the words, and mine were wrong, so the power went awry. How very fascinating.
Are you aware of what would happen if people learnt of your studies?
Surely the acquisition of knowledge cannot be a sin.
Will you still say that when Pennington accuses you of witchcraft? You must remember Deborah.
Miss Comenius. Yes, of course, I remember.
Your father tasked us with an investigation. One way or the other, we must return with the mystery solved.
Ah. I think I understand what you're saying. I might be in a tiny little bit of, danger.
You see ghosts. You stroll the void as if it were your garden. You possess and share forbidden rituals. Who are you really?
I'm Lammy Haskell, and I am a man of many sciences. I am in fact a true pursuer.
That raises more questions than it answers.
What are the pillars of the universe? Which principles underpin existence? As occultists, do we change the world or scratch upon its surface? Each discipline I embrace peels back a new layer of reality. I'm yet at the beginning, and see where I already stand. Amazing, no?
Are you a demonologist like your father?
More or less. Less, more so. My father sees occultism through the eyeglass of his faith, but I know better. So, more so?
If you don't share your father's faith, what do you believe?
I believe in the afterlife. The proof is about us. And if the void embodies eternal despair, there must too be a place of hope. But where, I ask myself, where?
Your father is convinced a witch poisoned his well. Caleb Watson was cursed by a ritual you gave him. I'd focus if I were you.
We must counter the devil with knowledge of his tricks. That, my father always said, is the purest of God's work.
Aye, I can imagine your father saying that.
When I was 10, he gave me my initiation. Demonology, sir, as he would say. He saw me as his heir. Then, of a sudden, the books were forbidden. So I stole them. The very same books he'd forced upon me as a boy. I understand them where he does not. I did no wrong, apart from a little theft.
You've studied demonology. Did you do it alone?
When my father forbade me to continue, I confess I disobeyed him in secret. Those big books were very boring until they were forbidden. Suddenly I could not get enough of their secret knowledge. Funny, eh? More recently, a good friend of my father showed me that I had only been scratching at the surface.
Who was your father's friend?
An itinerant Frenchman who often visited New Eden in recent years. He called himself a true pursuer. As a thinker, he was prolific and profound. My father was so proud to be included in his discourse. For him, knowledge is the ladder to greatness, and greatness is the prize. To me, knowledge is itself the prize.
From the looks of this place, you're knee-deep in research. What are you doing here exactly?
Searching for the origin of the Harrow's Plague, of course. And I have a theory on the subject.
Of course you do. Go on then.
Now at first I believed the water poisoned, but my father sealed the well, and yet folk remained sick. They looked for witchcraft, a foolish, uneducated suspicion, yes, but with some truth concealed behind it. You see, the Araloo taints New Eden. Its influence leaches into the Harrows. The evidence is everywhere.
By the Araloo, do you mean the Void?
Neither name does it justice. This place is beyond words. The Araloo, Mr. McCraith, is made of the very fabric of our primordial myths. Isn't it amazing?
How can you be sure the Void has tainted the region?
In New Eden, the threshold between our plane and this is thin. Even I, a novice, may reach the frontier and then go beyond. I also believe it happened before. Some years ago, New Eden was hit by another epidemic.
Yes, we learned of it in Fort Jericho.
I believe that first epidemic was caused by the porosity of the frontier between New Eden and the Araloo. Although, where theirs was an affliction of burning flesh, ours is a corruption of mind and spirit. And I believe I have found its source. There is a substance, a strange ooze. You may have noticed it. This, I believe, is the true source of the Harrow's poison. It carries a particular stink, on the scent of which I experience first confusion, then a loss of control over my limbs.
Confusion, paralysis. Can you tell me more?
I felt my movement slowing, my thinking too. Space seemed to thicken. But wait, what if it was not space thickening, but time slowing? In recent months, many in New Eden have spoken of similar feelings, of lost time, hours untrackable, days passing unremembered. Who knows how the Araloo disturbs the minds and bodies of women and men? Unfortunately, I cannot reach the source. The Araloo is a formidable place. Tricky. A maze constantly evolving, changing, reshaping itself. The isthmus, for example. I found an oozing crack in the ground. The terrain then remade itself, and I can get to it no longer.
Perhaps we might be able to find a way through and take a look at that source.
Would you? That would be splendid. Would you mind taking notes?
Let's go take a closer look at that ooze then.
And with that sorrow gone, I can leave. Do be careful. My home is your home. If you need anything, help yourself.
The Araloo is not your home, Lammy. But thank you.
Pardon my morbid enthusiasm, Mistress Duarte, but could I ask you a few questions?
What do you wish to know?
Do you still need to eat? Do you feel hunger? Sorry, it's just, you're the first ghost I've met, in person, as it were.
I don't eat. Not in the way you do. I feel hunger. Again, not in the way you do.
Fascinating. And can you touch things, smell them? Are colours the same as you remember them?
My senses are different. It's difficult to describe how. I can see, sometimes touch. I cannot smell. Red tells me this is a blessing.
How do you manifest in this plane? Do you feel bound, or are you here by choice?
It feels as if I were clinging to a rope, high above the abyss. Even if I wished to let go, I could not bring myself to do it.
I see. What about your Banisher skills? Can you use them? Do the accoutrements of your craft still work? As a ghost, do they not harm you?
The marks on my hands and the rings on my fingers aren't actually there. They have no more effect on me than a memory.
Can you talk to any ghost you wish?
No. I sense traces of their presence. To talk to them, I must still do the work.
And yet here I am, talking to you. How marvellous. The dead are rarely as articulate, nor are they accommodating. In fact, they're often quite rude.
We should probably get going. Some other time, then.
But we've merely scratched at the surface of the great mysteries. I mean, look around us. We stand here beyond the ultimate frontier. Sorry. I mean to say, yes, Mistress Duarte.
Antea, we should get going. So, the pious governor's unassuming son is our evil Harrow's witch.
The more powerful the loose cannon, the more dangerous it is. I don't know if the paralysis and confusion applies to me, but I feel strange, and I suspect the ooze.
Only one way to find out. Oh, God. I need a wee bit of help here. Well, that was not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. It oozes through the breach, suppurates like a festering wound.
How delightful.
Let's see what lies on the other side. Where are we now?
Underground, looks like.
Wonderful.
The ooze affects the incarnate, too. Who goes there?
Is that a ghost?
I don't know. But I don't think we're alone. What might you be, then?
What was...
Oh, shite.
Did you just say shite? You? Bigger than I thought it'd be.
Is that a house from the Harrows?
We may be below the well.
No wonder they all got sick.
This house belonged to a certain Antipas and Clemency Gibbs. I'm picking up something spectral nearby.
Look up. The ooze, oozed through the very stone.
And of all of them, just this one house fell down.
Maybe it was personal.
Was the Gibbs' house targeted by the ooze?
Obviously. Look around you.
The Gibbs' land was barren. They were struggling for money.
Mr. and Mrs. Gibbs, have you read my paper?
I read it, aye. And then I washed my hands and prayed for grace. You claim to prove that there is no curse. Well,
A witch would say that, wouldn't she?
Wherever people gather to live, disease takes hold, and I believe... What are you doing?
your evil lies shall be destroyed. We know who you are, and you shall be judged. Witch!
That was Deborah. She built a case for her rationality, and they tore it apart.
Get lost, would you? Clemency Gibbs blamed the epidemic on a witch. Come from New Eden time with the governor.
That's not what Deborah was saying.
The Gibbs were not at home to rational explanations.
This is God's land. How could we let a witch come to our community? Instructing our children, no less.
'Tis no surprise. New Eden brims over with backsliders. The governor, chief amongst them.
Aye, many had to sicken and die for him to act. But the deed is not yet done.
We must fight the Lord's good fight and cast the devil out for good. Many want to try the witch, aye, and many want to see her dead.
There's more of them. Those things came from the ooze. They're like those oriental shapeshifters we fought in Bremen.
Or back in Liquefy. This is something else. The ooze reacted to our presence. The Gibbs were so angry. Pure entitled bigotry.
Maybe they were affected by the ooze. I mean, we've been snapping at each other since we got here. Something's toying with us.
I think they made the ooze. I don't think the ooze made them. Come back. We're not done here.
This is it. This is the source. How do we get to it? Silence and the campfire. Just what Dr. Duarte ordered.
Something tells me this is the condemned well. Do you think you could get that bucket down? We can't leave yet. A vivid memory from the dead is somewhere near. A ghost left a fragment of their past here.
The woman still breathes to her mouth. We are cursed, and you are stalling.
Clemency, Antipas, please. The woman has been jailed. As per custom, she will face trial and justice will be brought to this community.
Coming from a magic user himself. But can you or your demonologist discernment really be trusted?
Dare you insinuate such blasphemy? I'm a man of faith.
Do what God commands of you. Governor, we ask for safety. If we do not get it, there will be consequences.
The governor used Urim and Thummim, and that made his flock suspicious.
Divination stones. He must have thrown them down the well when he sealed it. But why now?
Hiding the evidence perhaps of his role in the witch trial. They connected him to the demonology he used to reinforce his authority.
That echo proves that things were getting out of hand. For his son's safety and his own, Haskell must have feared the suspicious mob.